few weeks ago, circumstances made it so that some time had to be put off from working on the main project, and because sitting around and doing nothing is not the kind of thing that I'm known for, decided to go for a game jam instead, and ultimately ended up with this game, which is meant for mobile, but unfortunately at the time of the recording I'm unable to show it off, so we're going to play it in the editor instead. Would also mention that the art you see in the game is just really put together in matter of minutes, hours, so bear in mind when you judge the appearance or the concept. It's just there to convey a message, an idea of an ARPG that have been boiling inside for, I don't know, many years, and technically this is a spiritual successor to small other game jam done like 2-3 years ago, but this is like I think you can technically call this is an upgrade to that. So without further ado, let's jump in. So there was a huge inspiration or interest in making this mobile title, or trying this out on mobile instead of making just a PC game, because of the touch sensitivity and generally the availability of being able to touch things. So as you can see, I'm just tapping this hand. It's not moving it on its own, although it's a physics-based object. It's still reacting to my touch, or I can just tap the menu gently because it can freak out still, even though I have some constraints in place. Yeah, you can see it just wiggles a bit. So anyway, the idea was to rekindle that love that I have for our ERPGs from way back then, and because it's such a huge part of my existence that just keep coming back to this concept. But as you may know or may not know, making RPGs take a lot of time and effort, and one person can only do so much, especially under a few weeks. And the art style came from the fact that there was lying another older project, and being a fan of pixel art kind of nudged me into the direction of making something not quite low poly, but voxel based. Although that being said, I'm not sure if it worked out, because voxels do not bend or morph perfectly when you animate them. So you'll see what I'm talking about in just a few minutes or a second. So let's just jump right straight into it. Originally, well, not originally, but there should have been more characters to play with, but currently there's going to be just the one, the mercenary. Because of the time constraints. So, and everything you see here, everything that I touch and operate is custom made, except from the AI routine, because I didn't program that, just the tasks but the touch interface, the touch interface is all custom made, so it was a lot of work, but a lot of fun as well, anxiety-induced fun. And for some reason I thought to spice this up and also give it a save function, so I can just continue a previous game, which I want. So as you can see, the character itself is based off on an earlier design I had laying around, and technically I just made it 3D. If I click it, you can see it's totally 3D. It's just the base model that you can operate in the game. These buttons as well, they're all 3D. This is another new thing that I tried to experiment with. Instead of using a regular 2D based UI, which surprisingly works out well. So let's select one. The one. It's actually, as you can see, I have already a save file. Yes. It starts up. It takes some time to load because it's randomly generated. It's the one and first thing that I've thought to implement that, making it sure that every time you load it up, you get a different experience. So as you can see, it has a touch interface, which is totally custom, and had great fun with this because it might not be totally good and acceptable in all directions, but it has directional awareness. So as you can see, it goes into defense pose if the character is facing the different direction that the movement is based upon, which is, you know, useful when you don't have a control in your hand. But of course, after making this game, it made me realize that how much a controller and, you know, Unreal Engine 5 will do to this game, to see it in full glory. So it has directional awareness, it auto attacks, speed is varied on the base of how far the control is, and can go to side, because the blend is based upon that, blending of the movement, but it's a bit rough on the edges. So the goal of this game is to, or was, to be in an semi-open world, randomly generated open world, fighting thieves and monsters. I cranked up the time, so it gets dark really fast, and which means the game gets really hard. Because the darker it gets, the more enemies spawn, if I can find one. It's not cranked up, so maybe if I just set the difficulty a bit higher, because we are on PC. Yeah, see, there's one. This is a thief, and he dropped a potion, and it's a bit starting to lag because it's working from the editor, so excuse that. Oh, and it just had reached midnight, which means the Skeleton King has spawned. If I can live through. You see, that's a thief skeleton. Yes, and the other thing is that, oh, we just died. The other thing is that these enemies, let's just start a new one. The enemies have a bit more sophisticated. That will be a far fetch, but the enemies have an awareness of being hit, and the one thing that I've been missing from the old days of ARPGs, that the fact that the enemies, the AI, is quite stupid. You see, now you get to a point where it had so low health that it thought to run away. If I can just come back. My fingers are not sticking enough. Yeah, okay, got them. It helps if your fingers aren't slipping through the screen. They're getting sticky. This is one of the things that I've couldn't implement in time. The thing was that because this is an open world, well, would be an open world. This is just I can show you actually. This is just a small map, but this map randomly generates each time. So the idea was to force the player to not stick in an area too far for too long, and this guillotine would have represented that time, that as the blade slowly travels downwards to the button, the area around here would get more difficult. It would have amped up the difficulty for the mobs, so to force the player to move. And these markers on the map, let me get rid of this one. So these markers on the map represent that the area has a entrance, health, an exit point, more health. If I can, where is it? So we are. It's difficult to move by the map, just by the map, because it's not it has not been rotated, because the player is at a 45-degree angle. Yeah, so. To go up, then to the right, up. Yeah, there you go. So this should be an exit point, marking the exit point where another tile would just generate. You could just move on to the next area, or have a cave entrance, go down to a dungeon, and so forth. So let me try to find the Skeleton King, if I can, if I have enough courage and time. And also defending deflects the blow a bit, so makes it so that you get the less hurt. They can get really damaging. I might not live through. Yeah, it can be really, really painful. Let's just continue. Oh, okay. So just there was a hitch. You didn't see nothing. It was nothing. Sometimes I don't know. The map just does not want to load correctly, so it's better just to make it from scratch. So this is the start marker to make sure that the level is correctly generated, and basically that's it for this small showcase. And yeah, as you can see, the map is now completely different. It's surprising how much you can do under such a short time if you know what to do and how to do it. That's a big if. But it would be cool to see this as a more polished version with a more refined action and combo system for the player, and of course not with this custom-made, a bit janky controls. Originally, the idea was to, as you can see, there are a lot of grass blades on the ground, but it's currently not as optimized as one would hope. So that's the reason why they're so scarce. The scarcity of them is just quite low. Can we actually find that Skeleton King? If it spawns, it should be midnight soon. Oh, might get to the point. Let me find a thief. Yeah. Oh. Maybe yeah. Oh! For some reason the... Oh, okay. We errored out a bit. No worries. Yes. Okay, just a second. Ah, okay, thank you. That's nice. So it's just a prototype, so there's no worry. These things happen. These things tend to happen. Yeah, it's really... This potato is really struggling to keep this apart. Would have been nice to add some sound effects and music, but unfortunately there was no time. So yeah, basically that's it. Just wanted to make a different kind of video, not just the music one, and posting it on YouTube and just be done with it. Wanted to make it a bit more special, a bit more personalized. But if you bear with me for just a bit longer, we might be able to catch a Skeleton King. Promise. Well, try to. And also there's that grey bar you can see on the bottom of the screen that's supposed to be... Come back. That was supposed to be stamina system in place to make the action a bit more restricted, I guess. But again, that feature had to be cut for the sake of completing this small gem. Yeah, now it runs away. Ideally, they could have, caught some reinforcements or something like that. So this is just the very basics. Okay, now we have the king spawned. So currently there are 3 types of enemies: thieves, skeletons, and zombies. The Skeleton King is just a larger version with a light inside of it. Let's try to run for it. The character has 6 positions, for each side: walk, run, walking backwards, and has idle animations as well. We just triggered this looking around. So the blend poses are really powerful. Well, I'm just gonna go for it, run for it, and hope to find the king. Just basically make a speed run. This is the starting area. It's really randomly placed, so it's a bit difficult to locate them. Their AI perception is not very great, because I had to call the distance to make sure the game can keep up with it on a mobile phone. And as you can see, it lags from time to time. That's part of the reason why it lags, because it updates the AI routine. And of course, I'm running it from the editor itself. But if we aren't finding anyone, I can just go into a free fly mode, which I'm going to do just now. And find. There you go. So this is the. Let me show you this as a bullet. This is the king. So we. Yeah, okay. I think we can find it. This is a bit more love. No, these are just regular mobs. There you go. There it is. There it is. It has the most health, so it would take quite a while to beat them up. If you make it this far. Where did it go? So that's it. This was all made under 4 or 5 weeks. Can't remember really. It was an interesting experience. Learned a lot, especially when it comes to randomly generating things. Hopefully I can implement those in the future. Well, that's it for now. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.